Hello, people. This is John Davis, your emperor and your empress. You know, this particular group here that I'm speaking to here on YouTube, it's been very difficult for me to understand what is next with you all because everything is very confusing. I mean, very confusing. To say that is lightly, is to put it lightly. I've had been told that I have finished all the tests. I'm the only one that completed all the tests, from what I understood. And that it's time for me to receive, right? That's what I've been told. Now, while I held the Empress phase, you told me to sit back. The Empress doesn't chase. Everything comes to the Empress, right? Yet, I'm sitting here in the receiving phase. I've made requests like I was asked to, and I have yet to receive something. What I have received is more rhetoric that I'm going on social media too much and to download an app called Opal and lock into it for 30 days. Now, it's been very difficult for me to even understand what it is that all of you that shuffle the cards, you all seem to know step by step what is expected. But I haven't been schooled in those step-by-step methods. The angel numbers, the tarot cards, the astrological movements, and so forth. And so, no guidance has been given me, no one to walk with me that know those steps. It seemed as if you believe that I understand all of that myself, despite having journeyed to you all alone, with no one with me on this path. And I discovered this light on my own. Right. And so you say now it's time for me to come with my creation. And yet just a day or two ago, you say don't say anything. Don't let them know what you have to say. They don't need to hear it. You know, all of that is confusing to me, especially when I'm making every attempt to do whatever it is necessary to bring peace and balance to this situation. Well, part of my creation is this. This is the main thing that I wanted to put out here. And I'm going to say it bluntly and without any regard for anybody's feelings or their attitude or whatever disposition they might hold, right? The basic understanding is this, that there is no Jesus Christ, that all of that stuff is nonsense, and that the New Testament, so-called, I say so-called because all of the writing, whether they call it old or new, is the creator, is the Hebrews' creation. The Hebrews' understanding, their cultural understanding of the one creator and not a lot of gods that I've been hearing people say on these platforms. It's just one creative, eternal creative law of all that exists. I don't acknowledge a God, right? I don't accept the idea of a God, period. I don't accept the idea of a Christ, period. I don't accept an idea of a Jesus, period. All of that is non-existence. Here is why. Because the New Testament, so-called, is not a reference of a period of time in history. It's not. It has been manipulated and presented to the people as such. But in that manipulation is a lie, a deception, a fabrication of what it actually is. It's a prophecy of my coming. I am the true light of the world. Most of you can see this light that have psychic vision. A lot of you can recognize the ascension of the wave. Now in the scripture, it shows that a man, it speaks that a man in the book of Acts rising up in the sky. You ought to be able to know that that was allegorical. No body rises up in the sky and ascends. The ascension is the internal state. No one is even aware of the ascension except for the individual that's going through it, that's experiencing it, that's encountering it. Now you can see the wave that's spiraling outside. The public that has vision can see that wave. But the resurrection happens within. It's an internal state. And actually, it's not really a resurrection. It's a transmutation of the self, which most of you call the ego. But I recognize that it's the self, and that the ego represents the immature aspect of the self. But it's actually the self that dies, the scripture says. Paul even says in Corinthians that I die daily. And the Messiah, which I choose to call it the Hamashiach in the Hebrew language, says, he that comes after me must first deny self. Self must be denied, because self is the subtle influence that guides man and woman away from the soul, which is true, which came from the Creator. You see, man and woman was made in the image and likeness of the Creator. The Creator is the eternal law. So when you're having the experience within of the frequency, you're not experiencing any Christ. That's what religion brought to you. That's what you want. That's what they want you to believe, because they've showed you a picture of a white man, and they want you to be confused with that and make you think that there's something that they conjured up that you're experiencing within. And it's kind of easy to confuse people because the real essence is invisible. And so they can tell you it's this or that and make you think that that's what you're experiencing. That's why you have to go back to the beginning in the book of Genesis and know that you were made in the image and likeness of the Creator. Right. And you became a living soul. So what you are experiencing within is your likeness of the Creator that you were made from. That same essence is within you. It's the law of eternal life. That's what you're experiencing. You're not experiencing any Christ. None of that stuff exists. They made the J, the letter J, and the C in 1524, around the time they made that calendar. And really, the actual time period was 524, because they added 1,000 years to the timeline to make it appear that we were far away from our ancestors, when that was a lie. The ending of them taking us Hebrews down was in 1864. Right. Drop Nation here on YouTube got a list of every single war that we fought. We are the original, we the only Indians, because this is India, this is Asia, and this is Africa. Wrongly called or labeled North America. Now this is the truth, and this is my creation. And on YouTube, if you enter that platform, you'll see about 15 or 16 videos that's unfolding this understanding. Now, because this has been taught, this false understanding has been given to the world for almost 400 years, might be a little over, it may be difficult for some of you to come around to understand that. And I know that there are sellouts, that means Hebrews and Yasharelites. We are Yasharelites. There are some that sold out. They joined the attackers, the Moors, the Muslims, and the Spaniards from Spain. They were melanated at the time. And the heathens out of Al-Kibalon that joined them. Which is called Africa today, Al-Kibalon. Right? They changed the names of all the continents in order to deceive the inhabitants of the world. And they've done a good job at it. Because I've been hearing you psychics, you seers, you light workers, and whatever other terminology you might call yourself, I've been hearing you all in lockstep with these false ideas of a Christ and of a Jesus. None of that stuff exists. None of it. What you're experiencing within is the resurrection of that eternal law within you. Now, when you first get a large downpour of it, that's called the baptism of those frequencies. That's why so-called John the Baptist came first. And Elizabeth, his mother, represents a soul at that level when you first experience that downpour, which is called a baptism. Later on, Mary, another aspect of the soul that had developed and brought forth the child, that means that lasting frequency that remains there. Because in the John the Baptist state, what happens is you may experience it for a while, and maybe a week or two you don't experience it. maybe a month or two. But you've been hit with it, you've been charged with it, and you know that there's something within. That's Elizabeth represents the soul at that initial level. But the soul develops. It grows. That frequency grows and develops and gets strong, like you've seen it in me. You watch me get real strong. Right. But it ain't about no Christ or no Jesus or none of that. And I've seen on platforms saying, this is another Christ. No, it never was a Christ. That's a misleading. That's a falsehood that you've been taught. I'm here to make it plain and clear so you can understand that the only thing that operates in this existence is the one creative essence. And it works throughout all existence. All existence. Both visible and invisible. It never needed a man to show up. So there is no Jesus. There is no Christ. That's what these churches have been teaching the people. And you know why they created the churches in the first place? They brought these churches to deceive you. And they are taking up your money. And the reason why they are taking up your money is because when they fought these wars to bring us down, the churches are getting paid for their labor in the wars. That's what they're all about. That's why you see so many different denominations of them. You got your First Baptist, your Second Baptist, your Third Baptist. These different groups that making money for fighting in the war to bring us down. You have to understand that because this is the truth. Then you got your Methodists. Then you got your African Methodists. Right? These are separate groups getting paid for fighting against us in the wars. Now, Drop Nation got a record of every war fought. We fought these people for over 200 and some years to keep them out of this country. But they had inside help. That's why we couldn't overcome them. Some of our own Hebrew brothers and Yasharelite brothers sold out and joined them. These are the people you see as celebrities now. You see them in politics with different positions. Some of them might be senators or governors. You see them with these multi-million-dollar ball contracts. They are either playing basketball, football, or baseball. Right? These are the descendants of these folk that sold out. Some of them are just heathens out of Europe. That's who brought all of the diseases in this country. They brought them over here. We didn't have any diseases here until they came here. They brought cancer, polio, syphilis, gonorrhea. You can go on and on and on. And all of these mutations now from these diseases. You might have 18 or 20 strands of cancer that these folk brought here. And usually the people that lived in caves where it was always dark, no sun shining, their cells die. Because you need the sun to live. If not, your cells die, and what happens? They turn into cancer. Right. And then whoever they associate with, especially if they procreate with them, you're going to carry across those cells. And they're going to infect the genes of the people that's been procreated. Right. Right. So if you have a baby, he's likely to have cancerous genes. Right. That's the way it goes. Now, with us Hebrews, the Creator wouldn't even allow us to marry outside of our tribe. It was 12 tribes. I'm from the tribe of Judah, U-D-A-H. They put a J on it and call it Judah. Right. Now, our tribe was given authority over the earth here, which I'm here to resume that authority. Right. And the ancestors which they disposed of are riding with me now. There's a whole group of them riding with me. They invisible, you don't see them, but they see you. Right. The angels are here too, because they know what has happened here. The Creator is here too. The Creator knows what has happened. Now, the Creator is not a man. They call it a he, but it's not a man. You think something could be responsible for all of this existence can be a man? Because they lied to you about Jesus Christ. All that stuff is nonsense. There wasn't no Jesus Christ. All they gave you was a name. Just believe on the name is what they say. What can that name do? It can do nothing, because that's the eternal law that you are experiencing within. You understand that? Now the people are characters in the scriptures. The disciples, they represent your states and stages of consciousness. That's what they are. They are states and stages of consciousness while they are unenlightened. Notice Peter, at the so-called crucifixion. These are allegories. These are symbols. They are not people for real. These characters represent states and stages of consciousness. And man, when he rises to his kingdom stature, he has 12 virtues, because the states of consciousness are transmuted into virtues. You can find some of those virtues mentioned in the book of Galatians, chapter 5, at verses 22 and 3. These states of consciousness are transmuted into virtues. Now, what are virtues? They are your inner strength. Right. That's like, for instance, let's assume at one time I might have had hatred in my heart as a state of consciousness. Well, when I become enlightened, it's transmuted into the virtue of love. Right? It's a strength. That's what virtues are. They are inner strength. Right. So once you become enlightened, the babe is born within you. That means that babe demonstrates all 12 virtues, which you all are calling disciples when you read the book as if they are people. But they are not people. That's not a historical document. That's a prophecy. Now the world has to come to understand that. These people that's running this country, we in North America here. I'm talking in North America. So this is the so-called United States. They brought that flag here and put it up and named it the United States. Right. But that flag has got to come down. And that's the truth. That's why we're on a roll right now. And I want this video to be a call to the soul tribes and the collective, the angels, the ancestors, the kingdom guides, and my guide, the kingdom team and my guide, and all of the rest of the 144,000 and the tribes and collective, their guides. This is a call. See, everybody got guides and kingdom team. So we are here. We have this whole world covered. Whether you see them or not, they right here. They see you. Right. And they know it's time for us to take steps to assume power. So now what that means, what does that mean in practical terms? That means that those that's holding the seat of power, like in the Supreme Court, that means they got to step down. What else does it mean? That means that the president must step down. What other meaning? That means that Congress got to fold up and go home. Right. That means there's another authority on board here. Right. That means another system of power is taking over. It means that it's starting right here in so-called the West, but this is the East here. This is not the West. That's a deception. The sun rises over here on this continent, and it goes down in the West. You see how you've been deceived? Now I'm talking to the people that's right here in North America right now. Do you see how you've been deceived? You thinking you one place and you're not there. You're in the east. This is the eastern continent. Now, if you've been deceived to an extent that you don't know where you are, do you think they're going to give you the truth when they give you a name like Jesus Christ? Now, you see me that I'm the light. I'm seen from every country in the world. I'm the greatest of all time. Right. It's not that I'm bragging. No, it's a statement of fact. It's written. It's been written that 7 others attempted to ascend, but they couldn't succeed. Right. So I succeeded. So I don't have to brag about it. In fact, it's not in me to brag. In fact, I don't even want attention. It's been offered me many times. I don't need attention. Right. I need this heavenly state of peace. Right. I need the joy of the peace of the Creator within me. You have it in you, but you got to stop calling it Christ, because there was no Christ. That's a deception they conjured up to have power and showed you that picture of a white man. That boosts his ego. Now he got an ego, right? And that's when you started respecting him. But I come here to put my foot on him, right? That's what I'm here for. And the ancestors too, because they remember what he did to them. But he didn't do it by himself. Those Moors brought him here, claiming they was selling this continent to them. And they dogged us out, sold our young girls to old men, raped, robbed, pillaged everything we had. Right. But the universe says there are consequences for those actions. Right. Now, when I mention white people, that don't mean I'm against white people. No, I'm against those that work evil. Right? And so is the Creator. The law of life is against them. So are the angels. So are the ancestors. So are all these kingdom teams. Now just think, if you got 144,000 here, which is more than that, but if you got 144,000, all of them got kingdom teams. Do you know that 4 angels can take care of everybody in this world? Right. He can stand on the 4 corners of this world and handle everybody. He's invisible. You can't do anything with him. Anything you shoot at him or latch at him with, it ain't gonna work. But everything he's doing gonna work. That's like you be working with the law of diminishing returns. I know you've heard about that in economics, haven't you? Where you said it putting out, but ain't nothing coming back to you. Right. That's where it be when you're working with one of those angels from the higher dimension. You can't get anything done. It's doing everything to you. Right. That's the way it goes. Now you have to realize that before you make a false move. Right. And end it all for you, where you won't have any ears to hear what I'm saying. Right. 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 So it's our time, people, for us to rise up and bring balance. Now, you told me that I draw you all to me. You all know where I am. You all see me. And yet I've drawn no one. No one has told me anything. I stumble into you all without knowing the ropes like you know them. I don't know anything about tarot cards. In fact, I was told that tarot cards were of the devil. Do not even fool with them. Don't even go around them. So I saw them as something evil. Well, that could be expected. You know, when people grab hold of your nativity chart and know who you are and what you're here to do, they're going to do everything they can to misguide you. And so that's what happened with me. I've been misguided, misled. Right. So now I'm playing this video here, and I have a lot of videos. So when you get this video, just go on the web page, because that's where my creation is. I have 25 more, maybe 26 other videos that I sent into this system here at YouTube that can be accessed and listened to also. And I believe this video here makes about the 15th or 16th one right here on this page here fairly recently, within the last month or two. So I'll be back speaking to you continuously as I unfold this truth to you about where you are, what these folk have done that established these religions. It's 4 religions. You'll probably find them in symbols, symbolically as the beast in the book of Revelation. Because you got the so-called Christian. By the way, none of them has a foundation. None has a foundation. They all borrow their ideas from Christianity. From the Hebrews. Christianity was formed from what they took from the Hebrews. And they claim they descended from David, but I'm David. And they didn't come from me. So I'm stopping them in their lie right here, right now. And that was those so-called Jews that you find in Revelation chapter 2 and chapter 3 at verse 9. Go there and read it. It'll let you know exactly who they are. And he'll let you know in knowing that, you'll know where they got their King of the Jews from, that so-called Jesus Christ came from them. And I'm going to tell you in short what that scripture says there. It says they are from the household of Satan. Right. These people that's controlling the media, that's where they from. Right. They're from the household of Satan. Now those that say I fear, I'm letting you know that I don't fear. I'm putting it out here. I'm putting it out here because I want you to wake up. Those of you that's calling on Jesus Christ. Every time I go on a platform and I hear that name, I X right off. Because I said that somebody still ain't woke up yet. Right, you got to wake up and know I'm the one to come. I'm King David. You can go to Isaiah, the 11th chapter, really all over that book of Isaiah. But Isaiah, the 11th chapter, will give you a snapshot of me. Hosea, chapter 3 at verse 5, it lets you know am I coming. Right. It says it in a lot of places. We had thousands of books, thousands of writing. These people just issued, they robbed our temples. See, we didn't have churches. We didn't have mosques. We didn't have synagogues. We didn't have cathedrals. We had temples. Right. We had temples. We are the original. We came from the Buddha, Hiawatha, Pocahontas, Enoch, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Right. We are the first to bring the truth of the one creator, not a lot of gods, none of that nonsense. The one creator is really not one. It's the allness that exists. And everything exists in it. That's what reality is. Everything exists in this one allness. It's not a Christ. Stop that nonsense. It never existed. They just made those 2 letters, J and the C, in 1524. But they claimed 2,000 years ago that he came. All that is a lie. Nonsense. And they didn't descend from me. And I've lived many lifetimes. And I'm here to not only tell you the truth, I'm expressing it. I'm showing you that I'm the light. Now what you going to accept, the belief? Or you going to accept what you see and what you experience when you're around me. The whole world experiences my presence. I don't have to try to convince you. That's not what I'm doing. I'm attempting to wake you up, because what the words you keep within you will keep you in that vortex. Right. Because you're believing the wrong thing. You're accepting the wrong thing. You were made from the Creator. The Creator is the invisible reality within you. And that's what you're experiencing. You're not experiencing any Christ. It didn't exist. You were made from the Creator. It says so right there in the first chapter. And I don't believe in a God. There is no God. All that is nonsense. It's the eternal law within you. You wondering how I do this? I've been hearing that you all wondering how I do what I do. That's because I know the truth. I know this is the eternal law operating in me. I know there is no Christ or Jesus. All of that nonsense. You've been deceived. I don't care how long you believed it. It's still a lie. My mom and dad had that. They believed it. Right. But I couldn't accept that. Right. I had to find out who I was, who I am. I'm the one to come, and I'm here. You're experiencing me, but you've been given a lie, and you're still holding to it, and I'm here to break you from it. This is the truth that I'm teaching, because this is the truth of who I am. I'm King David. They removed my name from the scriptures, from the so-called New Testament. They put in all English names. They removed all the Hebrews name. But that's a prophecy. It's not a historical event, people. Every character in there represents a state or stage of consciousness. The key is, to understand it, is every character you read, watch his actions, what he does, and it'll show you what it is within you. Every one of them represent some state within you. Every one of them. Some state within you. Right. Some of those states you might not have, just like if you don't fear, you won't have that state of fear in you. But the possibility is there. Right. If you are not whorish, you won't find that whore state in you. But the possibility could rest there. And it's in some person. Right? But they are states and stages of consciousness. You follow the character, and you'll be able to interpret the prophecy. Right. Right. And ask for light. Pray for light as you read. I'm giving you the truth. Now it's up to you to hold to what you have believed, because that's all it is, a belief. You haven't seen any Jesus. You haven't seen any Christ. You've been told that, and you accepted that. But all of it is a lie. Thank you. I'll be back to you shortly.